Absolutely. You just nailed it right on the head. I mean, that's the exact thing that I've said to myself, and I've written in a journal. It's like, I don't understand what this is. Everything every girl wants. I mean, he is such a great partner and he does support me.
And a great father as well.
And a great father as well. The thing is, the nature of his job, now I feel like I'm in a therapy session.
Please
but
do,
let's
please.
go.
This is my favorite part of life, so please do.
The nature of his job is to be away a lot. And
Yes.
for me, that's how I feel. And for a while, I couldn't really say those words because I felt I could hear my mom saying, "Oh God, all you do is complain. You know, everyone would dream of going to America by themselves and starting their dream. You've always said you love California. Stop moaning." And that's why I never said the words of I was abandoned until I went through therapy. And now I'm okay with saying I survived abandonment
extreme
and neglect.
abandonment.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he leaves, I feel abandoned. So I resent him.
Yeah.
And then he calls me and he's checking on me all day. He's constantly trying to meet my needs a long distance. But I just feel like I don't like him.
Here's the thing with independence. It only comes when we feel safe. It doesn't come just like that. So what I mean by this is you have a 2-year-old. So this is why it's so beautiful, because you get to see it in live. When your 2-year-old knows you're in the room, she'll probably be running around, playing, kissing people, being absolutely fine. The moment you leave, she gets anxious. Children need to know that they're loved first. Then they can explore the environment. Then they can go out and be independent. But if they're not loved by their parents, they can't be independent. They're constantly looking for codependency because they don't feel safe. So you having an abusive father and a neglectful mother means there's no way you could have enjoyed your independence at 15. It's like matter of death for you at 15. But when you've got really loving and secure, safe parents, you can do anything by yourself. Now, what happens then is when you get into relationships, until you feel safe and secure, you can't calm down. You can't soothe yourself. So, and I have the same problem. I'm super clingy, and with separation, I associate separation with paranoia. I get angry and I get upset, and I need a lot of soothing afterwards. But if I get my soothing, the moment I'm triggered and I get contact and I get relief, I let go. But if it's prolonged periods of no contact and prolonged periods of separation, I self-sabotage as well. So what I'll do is, I'm not calling you. You didn't even think to call me this morning. And I'm causing myself the pain.
Right.
So the key is actually checking in and having rituals. Having check-in rituals, morning, lunch, evening, or it might just be, I know every night we're going to FaceTime before bed. It soothes the anxiety a little bit. But the problem with people like us who are anxious is we want to see that they want the same level of intimacy as we do. We're like, how come you haven't checked in? How come you can sleep without calling me first? You must not love me. But they can do that because they grew up with a knowledge that people that love them come back.
Right.
So it's not that they don't love us and don't miss us. They trust the process. Whereas we associate their independence with they must not love us.
Wow.
So we have to find a mutual ground. You have to learn his independence is not a detachment from you. It's simply because he trusts you and knows he's coming home to you. And your love has made him independent. Whereas for you, that is a signal that you don't love me and need me the way I need you. You go away. But he just has to simply remember that you just need rituals, predictable rituals, and you will calm down.
Wow, I'm processing right now.
Inshallah. No, it's not easy. It's not
Wow.
easy. It takes a bit of time and it takes a bit of effort, but the abandonment you suffered, and here's the thing with a lot of people who have abusive fathers, what happens is they become then super loyal to the mum and super attached to the mum because they think, okay, this is the one parent that stayed with me. She's going to be super loyal. Chances are she's usually a bit broken as well, because only a broken person attaches to an abusive man. So then she lets you down. It's only a matter of time before that mum lets you down, either through the form of a stepdad who's also abusive, or in the form of, I can't handle you anymore, can you go do it yourself? So that mother also lets you down. And so the child is thinking, the one parent I thought would save me from my dad is just as bad, but in a different way.
Right.
And so the child goes through life looking for love and having no idea where to find it.
That's, wow. I'm honestly going to cry.
So am I. I really hate these conversations because it makes me so sad. Because, you know, it makes me so, so sad because you cannot control or predict your childhood, but you can predict the outcomes. And the outcomes, unfortunately, are so traumatic.
And I think this is why I wanted to start this podcast and have these conversations, because although it's super hard and it's bringing so much to the surface, I think there's so many people out there that are like what you said in the beginning, like, am I always going to be fucked up? Nobody loves me. All these consistent, the inner voice that you have that's constantly beating you and berating you and basically talking shit to you all day is generated from, it's formed by these, abusive behaviors that were done by our loved ones.
And the people who are supposed to love you. So when the people who have no choice but to love you choose not to, you think, how the hell is a random stranger going to love me?
Exactly.
And the worst thing is, what we do when we're traumatized is we pick bad partners on purpose, because then we can say, well, he was abusive or he was a cheat. We almost deliberately pick the bad partners, so then we don't have to do the inner work. But the moment we pick a good, stable, wholesome man, and then we're still acting crazy, that's when the penny drops and you think, this must be a me thing, and you start to hate yourself even more, because you're just like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then whereas when you're in a toxic relationship, it's very easy. You can just say, I'm doing this because he came home late, spoke to another girl, blah blah.
Right.
But when you're in a healthy one, that's when you actually need the most work.
Wow. Isn't it crazy that we always think that we need to do the hard work with relationships that are unhealthy to make them better? But really, actually, if you do the inner work on yourself, you could have a healthy partner, and then you could do the hard work with a healthy relationship, because it makes you better.